This is AI Insight, a short-form documentary deep dive into the science that shapes modern investigations. Today, the quiet revolution behind cold case DNA, how fragments of biology survive time, and how AI brings them back to life. Cold cases often begin with silence, a file on a shelf, a piece of tape sealed in an evidence bag, a single hair, a trace of dried blood, a skin cell invisible to the eye. For decades, these fragments meant very little. Forensic science simply wasn't ready. Investigators could compare blood types, examine fingerprints, and analyze fibers. But none of it could identify a person with certainty. That changed when DNA profiling entered forensic science in the late 20th century. Not the full genome, that would be too large, too complex, but 20 small regions known as Stockter markers, short tandem repeats. These repeating sequences act like a personal barcode. Two people might share many traits, but their SDR profiles are almost never the same. Suddenly, a microscopic trace could point to a single individual. A name could emerge from a cell invisible to the human eye. This transformation reshaped cold case work. Evidence once considered useless became crucial. Investigators reopened boxes from basements and attics. They revisited samples collected decades earlier: clothing, envelopes, cigarette butts, hair follicles, scraped skin from beneath a victim's nails. Technology had caught up with time. And then something even more dramatic happened. When direct matches failed, investigators began using genetic genealogy, comparing unknown DNA to profiles voluntarily uploaded to public ancestry databases. This method doesn't identify the offender directly. It identifies relatives, a third cousin, a distant aunt, a family line that leads investigators to a suspect who may have lived undetected for 30 or 40 years. This is how the Golden State Killer was found. This is how unidentified victims regain their names. This is how stories once thought permanently lost find their last chapter. But DNA alone is not perfect. Samples degrade. Heat, humidity, bacteria, chemicals, improper storage. All of it breaks down the code. Some samples are so damaged that only fragments remain. Others contain DNA from multiple people, mixed together in ways that are nearly impossible to separate manually. This is where artificial intelligence is changing the field. AI does not extract DNA. Forensic scientists still do that. But AI interprets what remains when traditional methods reach their limits. It can identify contamination. It can reconstruct missing sequences. It can estimate how time has affected a sample. It can separate mixed profiles with mathematical precision. And it can compare a single profile against millions of others in a fraction of the time it once took. AI isn't guessing. It's calculating possibility. It can say, the probability that this degraded profile matches this person is greater than 99.999%. Or, these two partial profiles likely originate from related individuals. Or even, this old sample has been damaged in a way consistent with long-term storage in warm conditions. But as the science becomes more powerful, the ethical questions grow with it. DNA is not just evidence, it is identity. It reveals ancestry, medical predispositions, and connections between people who may have never met. When a suspect is identified through a distant cousin's genealogy upload, what does that mean for privacy? Who owns genetic data once it enters a database? And how far should investigators be allowed to follow a biological thread? Countries wrestle with these questions now, balancing the right to privacy with the need for justice, balancing what science can do with what it should do. Yet, despite the debate, one truth remains unchanged. Cold case DNA brings answers where there were none, even when the outcome is not dramatic, even when it simply confirms an identity or eliminates a suspect. It restores clarity to families who have lived in uncertainty for too long, because a cold case is never just evidence. It is a life paused in time, a story waiting for someone, or some technology, to pick it up again. And sometimes all it takes is one surviving cell, one atom of memory, one fragment of a person who wanted to be found. This has been AI Insight, a deeper look into the science behind Crimecase by AI. More short-form episodes return soon.